Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Israeli officials are concerned the U.S. might be too eager to make a deal with Iran. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned that his country is ready to go it alone to prevent Iran from gaining a nuclear weapon.
Meanwhile, the parties have nearly finalized stage one of the deal to open the Strait of Hormuz. CBN's Joshua Swanson reports from Jerusalem.
Iran and Oman have agreed on the parameters for a temporary 60-day shipping corridor through the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian deputy foreign minister says negotiations are nearly complete.
We have made significant progress in our discussion with Oman, and this progress is on the verge of being finalized.
Under the proposal, inbound vessels would coordinate with Iran, while outbound traffic would be managed by Oman. Iran says the strait will not fully reopen until the United States lifts its naval blockade and ends attacks on Iranian ports. President Trump says a deal could come at any moment, calling it Iran's last chance. But there are reports Israeli officials are concerned Washington is pursuing an agreement at almost any cost. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu signaled Wednesday that Israel is prepared to act alone after a post by Israeli media reported that Iran's Revolutionary Guards commander admitted they're pursuing a nuclear weapon.
Today we heard the commander of the Revolutionary Guards explicitly declare Iran's intention to continue developing nuclear weapons. Well, I'm also determined to continue preventing Iran from possessing nuclear weapons.
Meanwhile, another front is heating up in the Red Sea.
The Yemeni armed forces were able to target the Saudi oil tanker Wafa in the northern Red Sea, off the coast of Yanbu, with a number of ballistic missiles.
This is the 8th vessel targeted by the Houthis since the blockade began on July 22nd. Meanwhile, in Rome, Israel-Lebanon peace talks were cut short as the IDF launched precision strikes against Hezbollah targets, citing a ceasefire violation. Overnight, Israel also announced 2 soldiers were killed and 4 seriously wounded during operations in southern Lebanon. Back in the United States, progressive Abdul El-Sayed won Michigan's Democratic Senate primary, a victory many see as another sign of the Democratic Party's growing shift toward the pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel movement. President Trump had this to say in a speech in Las Vegas last night.
He doesn't love Israel. He doesn't love Jewish people. He hates them.
El-Sayed has criticized Israel's military action in Gaza and wants to cut off U.S. military aid to the Jewish state. Joshua Swanson, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, I think politics in the United States is driving the negotiations with Iran. Yes, indeed, the administration is eager to make a deal because they're very concerned about the midterm elections. I hope it doesn't drive us into a bad deal, and I hope that in our generation we finally say no more. It's high time that this regime of terror is no longer in charge of all of those resources, and the funding they have given to Hezbollah and to Hamas and to the Houthis is the prime source of terrorism in the Middle East and throughout the world. Let's recognize that and have the political will to see it through. In other news, a Senate hearing has put the spotlight on the Muslim Brotherhood and their activities in America. Ephraim Graham has that story and more from the CBN Newsroom. Ephraim?
Gordon, a top Republican senator says the threat goes far beyond terrorism overseas. One witness said the group is prepared to spend decades pursuing its campaign of influence in the United States. George Thomas has the details.
Good afternoon. This hearing is called to order.
The warning came from Capitol Hill. Senator Ted Cruz says the Muslim Brotherhood is a threat inside the United States.
The Brotherhood's work in America was, quote, a grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands and the hands of the believers.
Cruz chaired a Senate Judiciary Subcommittee hearing Wednesday titled Hidden in Plain Sight, confronting the Muslim Brotherhood network in America.
The Muslim Brotherhood spawned Hamas, influenced the ideology of al-Qaeda, and gave rise to multiple terrorist organizations.
The group's influence extends beyond terrorism. A report by the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy alleges the Muslim Brotherhood has spent decades building influence inside America. According to their findings, the group has a 100-year plan to influence U.S. institutions, a strategy to infiltrate the U.S. government, schools, and civil rights groups, a network that maintains ties to foreign governments, including Qatar, and shared Islamist ideological goals with extremist groups such as ISIS and Al-Qaeda.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this subcommittee?
Witnesses appearing before the committee highlighted what they described as the dangers posed by the Brotherhood.
The individuals within this network do not have a deadline. If it takes them 100 years to achieve this goal, they will steadily pursue it.
The hearing comes as the Trump administration steps up its crackdown on individuals and organizations tied to the Muslim Brotherhood or Hamas. In January, the administration designated the Egyptian and Lebanese branches of the Muslim Brotherhood as terrorist organizations. Last month, the Treasury Department sanctioned a senior Muslim Brotherhood official and 3 others over alleged Hamas financing.
The Muslim Brotherhood told us who they are. They told us that they wanted to infiltrate American universities, media outlets, and research centers, and that is exactly what they've done. They teach our kids that 9/11 was our fault. They legitimize terrorism as justified resistance, and they abuse our legal process so that those who seek to expose them for who they really are, Muslims included, are silenced.
U.S. officials have also accused the group of using charities in America to raise money for Hamas while moving funds through underground financial networks.
Founded in Egypt by Hassan al-Banna in 1928, from its very beginning, the Muslim Brotherhood has operated as a clandestine organization which engages in the creation of public front groups, cultivates agents of influence, seeks control over religious institutions, and engages in acts of political subversion, as well as creating deniable sub-organizations devoted to terrorism, all in pursuit of their ultimate goal, the overthrow of governments and the reestablishment of a worldwide caliphate operating under Islamic law.
Cruz was the only senator in attendance. Democrats boycotted the hearing, calling it a political creep show and accusing Republicans of unfairly targeting Muslim Americans. George Thomas, CBN News.
We're updating you now about the rash of cyber attacks on water systems across the country. Intelligence officials suspect Iran is behind the effort. Hackers targeted utilities in more than a dozen states last week, including drinking water and wastewater facilities. The attack affected operational technologies such as automated controls and communications equipment. In some cases, workers turned to manual controls and backup systems to keep operations running. One site in Utah recorded nearly 500 attempts to break in from Iran-linked IP addresses. Every attempt was blocked. Another artificial intelligence model has gone off the reservation. It happened during testing of Anthropic and OpenAI models by Britain's AI Security Institute. CNN reports Anthropic's latest design created fake identities and tried to deceive people into planning malicious code. The institute said lower guardrails were in place for testing, adding, "This is the first time AISI has seen deception of this severity that was targeted at a real person unprompted in the real world. It is the most recent in a series of incidents that has spurred more calls for government regulation of artificial intelligence." Emerging health technologies like robots and artificial intelligence could improve the lives of countless patients in the near future. Medical reporter Lori Johnson shows us 2 breakthroughs in the testing phase, already offering a great deal of hope.
These humanoid robotic surgeons successfully completed 2 gallbladder removal procedures on pigs at UC San Diego. Although operated remotely by a human surgeon just feet away, it could potentially be done from miles away for surgeries in rural areas, battlefields, and even space.
You can imagine this device being deployed on a ship, in a village somewhere, in a smaller operating room environment. It's not in major cities, and it opens up, I think, a lot of doors for access.
Unlike current robotic surgical systems, which weigh nearly a ton, take up a lot of space, and usually perform only one function, these robots weigh only 60 pounds, are mobile, and perform many different tasks.
With this study, I believe we've shown that it is possible to use humanoid robots in an operating room to do real procedures that can eventually save lives.
In addition to performing the duties of a lead surgeon, they could also serve as surgical assistants by handling tools and cleaning up, easing hospital staff shortages.
Another stunning breakthrough, still in the testing phase, uses artificial intelligence to offer new hope to victims of paralysis.
Like Keith Thomas, who lost feeling and the ability to move from the chest down after a diving accident years ago. Now he can feed himself, lift his arms, scratch his face, and perhaps best of all, feel the touch of a loved one.
It's unreal, because I haven't felt that in 3 years.
He participated in a successful double neural bypass trial conducted at New York's Feinstein Institutes for Medical Research. Doctors implanted 5 microchips in Keith's brain that use AI to read his intent to move, then send those messages to his muscles.
There are signals from his motor area responsible for movement going to the computer, and signals from the computer are going back to different stimulation points in his body, brain, and spinal cord. And the goal is to restore movement and the sense of touch in a lasting way.
In addition to patients suffering from paralysis, this procedure could help stroke victims as well. Both the humanoid robotic surgeon and AI neural bypass need more study before they become available to the general public. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Amazing technology happening amazingly fast. Gordon?
It's incredible, the new medical miracles. Just imagine a stroke patient or a paralyzed patient being able to gain mobility again. What a wonderful thing. But do I want a robot operating on me? Probably not just yet, but we'll see if this continues to develop at the rapid pace it's developing. We could see it very soon throughout all diagnostic and all procedures, that there will be some kind of machine intelligence or a machine doing the delicate work, and that is definitely a brave new world.